Peace and light that all go Australia. Like, share, subscribe, Instagram and YouTube. Coming to you from a stunning far south coast Tuesday morning. And there's a lot to talk about. To do that I have to do 10 videos, but I'm only going to do one at a time. But it's quite interesting. Now, as per usual with my videos, I'll show you where I am. It's my stomping ground. I actually grew up across the road, a place called Beauty Point, as a kid. And this beach, I was here day after day after day. I was here on this beach. The famous Camel Rock. I'll just show you that. As you can see, Camel Rock there. And the beach goes, there's a guy fishing, get off, all the way down to Bermagui. It's a beautiful big beach, goes all the way down Haywards Beach. There's a couple of headlands right down the end, and there's Bermagui in the distance. So, what you may or may not have heard, and if you're watching from overseas you'll know about it, and I wouldn't mind your comments, and you can inbox me and write to me about this, but we're now having a huge push on the media here to redefine the term terrorism. And I hope there's not too much wind with this, because I understand some of you go, oh my god, it's so windy. But anyway, so we're having a huge push to redefine the term terrorism. And I find this fascinating. I've been watching this unfold for a while now. We did wonder about a year and a half ago how they would do this, how it would unfold, how they were going to unpack this, and how they're going to market it to the people. Because understand, to bring in everything they want to do involves the compliance of the people. When you were asked to wear masks, you were brought about by fear. But then to regulate that and to police it, they used you, the people. And so all the little local police stations will run off their feet on a constant basis. I remember talking to the local police here at Bermagui, 2 local policemen, and they were sick to death of receiving phone calls from people saying, oh my god, there's a lady not wearing a mask in the local butchers, and all this kind of stuff. Because really, they're policing a huge area, and by the time they even responded to it, which they had to do, and they didn't want to, but by the time they responded to it, the person had shopped, grown 20 years and died. I mean, they just did not have the resources to do this. And as they said to me, they were getting half a dozen of these calls a day. And in small communities, it becomes far more, I guess, focused in a sense. Because, well, they've got little else to do. In cities, people don't recognise you or take a huge amount of notice of you. But in small communities, there's far more virtue signalling in small communities than there is in the cities. People move from the cities to the country and they want to prove to people that they're somebody. And they talk about our little town and our little village. When in fact, them moving there has added to the population, increased house prices, everything else, taken away from rentals. They don't see that though, they're too busy virtue signalling. So how they're going to unpack this really kind of had me a little puzzled, and as I said, watching it now for probably a year and a half. And we've all seen the video from New Zealand with the NSIS, which is, for those overseas, which is New Zealand's version of the Gestapo, saying that in a beautiful way, saying, look, I kind of like, how can I do this? Look, we understand that terrorism takes place and there's people who want to shoot people and plant bombs or whatever they want to do. However, there's also the side of it where, there could be a lot of people who are just disillusioned with the government and how we've gone about things and aren't happy with the measures we took during lockdowns and COVID protocols and, and they may be just people who speak out against the policies and the narrative of the government. And they too can be a danger, and you might know them as friends of yours or relatives of yours or just people you know, and you need to be aware of this, and you need to tell us, the government, so that we can take care of it for you, because you just never know. So don't be afraid or ashamed or feel guilty about ringing up and just letting us know that there's somebody you're concerned about. I mean, and people are taking this in and going, oh yeah, you know, hey, Uncle John, he's a twat. He wouldn't get the jab, you know. I'll take a break. This is where I used to swim as a kid. And just around the corner around there are some natural rock pools. You've got to climb a fair way around. And there's the back end of the camel. It's just beautiful. My dad used to have lobster pots in here. Yeah. Those were the days when the government didn't control your life totally and you could do a few things. But little did we know, everything we've had and everything we've been doing, everything we've been told is totally programmed. I'm going to do a video about that too, and that's going to be a challenge to all Christians and Christians who are practicing and follow the faith of Christianity. So I want to just have a chat to them about a few things. Anyway, so here in Australia now they're saying the same thing, and I know that this is happening overseas. If it's happening in places like the US, we need to hear some of that, and we need to get some of that footage, because they parrot the same thing. We know the media is owned, bought and compliant. So they're the ones who are, in essence, saying what has to be said, you know? And they're the ones trying to give you this kind of information that's best for you, if you just leave it to us. If you watch Alan Watt's video, and I've got to say Alan Watt's video was one of the ones that has shaken me more than any video I've ever watched. And in his video he talks about how we've become compliant through manipulation, and how most of us are unaware of the amount of manipulation we've been going through and experiencing from birth for decades and decades and decades, hundreds of years, to the point where the matrix is real. We are locked in something that we have no control over in a lot of ways. And we've been conditioned to believe things that are absolute lies. Wonderful, wonderful video, but disturbing in its own way. So, that old guy Australia has a new title. I'm a domestic terrorist. That's what I am, because I refuse to comply and won't go along with the government narrative. So that means people like myself, probably, though I'm not an influencer, but I'll still find myself in a little 6x4 cell, I guess. Maria Z, Cossack, you know, Max Egan, all the famous doctors, scientists from around the world, tens and tens of thousands of them who've been exposing the truth. They too are all in peril with this new push that Schwab and Guterres, Antonio Guterres from the UN, told us about 2 months ago, that they were going to bring Agenda 2030 forward and push hard. And the result of that, in that particular period of time, now we're having fuel crises, a fuel shortage, a fuel crisis countrywide. We've seen the queues in France and through Europe, and they're already telling Europe to brace for a cold winter because they're only allowed to use their heating between certain hours, and they're going to be programmed. Then of course they'll have the digital ID come in, and that will mean they'll have the passport. That means they'll have the one currency. That means that energy that goes to their house will be controlled. If the government wants to shut it off because you're not compliant, or you've broken the code, or your social credit score rating is down, or you're just being willful, trying to heat up your home and not freeze, or cool in summer, they can do that. And we know that's where it's heading, no matter what you may or may not think. And so I just come and look at things like this, the natural beauty of what I have, and I hope to hell that I can remember this in time to come. I remember as a kid being over there where that guy is. I remember when I got my first zippy board, the little yellow zippy board with the little handles on the side, moulded plastic, and I'd surf little waves in there and get smashed up on the shore. And us kids would be down here on a regular basis, no adult supervision whatsoever, none. And we would swim and surf and get sunburnt, and peel our skin off. You know, I don't know if we even had anything to eat half the time. I don't know. I'm not aware of these things. It's like a distant memory. The only thing I know is that in the end, we win. That's all I know. And as I've said over and over and over, whether you like it or not, between now and then will be darkness. Some horror will unfold that you cannot believe is going to take place. And if you can't see that we're in the fight of good versus evil, nothing more, it's purely good versus evil, then all I can say is God help your soul. Peace and light from an unshaven and an unapologetic old guy Australia. I hope that somehow anything I say or might have said to you in the past or say to you even in the future makes enough sense that it causes you to think. I've had some of you write to me and say that you've shared information with others and they've realised that I'm just a guy who talks, not really showing any great expertise in any particular areas. I'm just your average guy. I have no aspirations, no aspiration to be anything. I'm just me. I'm nothing. I'm, as if you watch Game of Thrones, I'm nobody. I am not. But I can think. And being a critical thinker, being a man who disseminates truth, who looks at things before making a decision, means that I am now proudly a domestic terrorist. Peace and light, that old guy Australia. Like, share, subscribe, Instagram, YouTube, and we'll catch you soon.